You don't want to be sharp or in your right mind when you hit 70 or 80 years old. Am I correct? Well, if that is not the case, then hey, this is going to be for you because today we're going to talk about that tough disease that many people already in our early 50s are dealing with. Our grandparents, what might be, is that they're losing the memory, Alzheimer's, and dementia.
It's very prevalent now, and this was not something that we saw growing up.
Didn't really see a lot of this when I was younger. It's definitely more so now. So you got to really, what's really going on here?
Right.
And it's not so much about that per se, because it's happening. It's really just, if we keep going down this road, what ultimately is going to end up is what? Nursing homes and
Yes, and unfortunately, a lot of people, the birth rate is decreasing. So who's going to take care of all these people?
high cost of the nursing homes and then the drugs to help out, high healthcare costs. But more than anything, that's an emotional toll that it takes because our elderly family members are just looping.
Yes, they are, and if they don't recognize the behavior, it becomes painful to watch and stressful,
Yeah.
right? Especially if you're the caretaker.
You mentioned this is a whole new phenomenon.
It is.
And just well, maybe the real question is in order to be sharp, what if we have the power in our hands or the power of our plates to stop that from even happening? That way we have no function, cognitive awareness, and being sharp and present when we hit 70, 80, 90 years old, and where that is the norm.
Right. Yes. Because a lot of people, once they retire, they think, that's it, I'm done. No, they have a whole life ahead of you. That's just one part of your life. Now you're on to the second part. And a lot of people do not, especially if you abuse your body when you were younger and did not take care of yourself as should have, the disease starts to show its ugly head then.
Well, I think even sooner than that, because I know before I became that certified health educator under Pam, when I was early 40s, late 30s, even though my gosh, now it's been 20 years since I started dental school.
Wow.
No, it's crazy. But I started having an instance of brain fog. Can't think about stuff,
Oh,
right? Which are memory
yes.
problems. So it's like a little
Right.
glimpse, right? So if you keep doing what you're doing, you're probably going down that path of the full blown dementia. So
My
I do
goodness, I
think.
never made that. Yes, you're right. Now I think
Mhm.
about it. Oh, yes, because so many of us, I included, went through that at a certain age, and I just chalked it up to perimenopause.
Genetics, age, whatever it may be, stress. However, I don't have brain fog anymore.
Right. Same.
And what do you call that thing over there?
Wait a minute. I did do that.
Well, that's not brain fog. Brain fog is like you're in a meeting and you're like, okay, I can't make a decision. Or you walk into a room and you're like, I'm completely paralyzed here. I don't know what I'm doing in this room.
Oh, what to say
Or what?
or to think. In there, am I a fake here?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be in this situation here? And you can't think, you can't go beyond that. And I have been there.
So there's things that we have done. There's things that I have implemented from what I have learned, which work besides the pill or anything else. And the number one thing is just I was so inconsistent with my cardiovascular fitness midlife that once I improved that, the blow flow started happening consistently, and my brain sharpness just increased substantially.
And you've heard doctors say that if the one way to stave off or to keep dementia down is to manage your cardiovascular health, the high blood pressures and getting that lung capacity going. And I don't think people make that connection that I'll just take a pill and that will bring down my blood pressure. And it's like, well, are you really though?
You're having high blood pressure, if I could talk, because there's something else going on.
Correct. And taking a pill to artificially bring it down does not preclude you from getting dementia.
No,
'Cause I
doesn't
think
at
you're
all.
still at risk because you're not taking care of the root cause of the problem.
Which leads me to number two, some of the root cause is the amount of saturated fat that we take. In fact, there's studies when I'm studying that over 21 years, they have linked that the high intake of saturated fat increases your risk of dementia.
Ooh, so when you say saturated fat, let's break it down for friends here.
Meat,
Hey,
eggs, animal products, it's saturated
cheese,
fat.
cheese.
You didn't think animal fat, it's saturated fat. And there's this
And,
whole,
and for our vegans too, because you have some healthy vegans and you have some unhealthy, you eat a lot of processed food that has a lot of sugar and oils in it.
yep,
You're still exposing yourself to it.
yeah, 100%. So it's documented the preponderance of evidence shows that to be true. And it's not fake pseudoscience that you find in today's articles, that you can find some crappy article or study that they produce and then people grab onto it because it makes them feel good. But yeah, the whole high saturated fat intake is a huge thing. So you got to reduce that a lot. Number 3 is the fact that there's a low intake of fruits and vegetables.
Because people don't like how they taste.
Yeah, berries as well.
Berries is part of the G bombs, but all fruits have fiber, right? It has the carbohydrates which your brain needs, and it gives you the minerals and the vitamins that you need.
And when you properly supply your entire body with the nutrients, you get better blood supply, better distribution of nutrients, better absorption of nutrients. The nutrients go to the cells, including your brain. Right? They cross the blood-brain barrier. You got better gut function, which allows the guts to stimulate this nerve that's down in your gut. It's like a brain, which goes up to your brain. It's not central nervous system. It's funny. People try to call me out, talk about how the good gut, you know, serotonin is produced in your gut, but you don't cross the blood-brain barrier. Oh, tough guy. I get it. You're right. But there's something called the vagus nerve, and that stimulates, which affects your overall capacity to think and how you feel as well.
And have you noticed lately, in the last several years, people's ability to think clearly, logically, is just gone out the door?
Yeah, right. It's crazy. And so I guess I want to be careful here because there is a genetic component to this. However, that genes don't have to be turned on all the time.
They can be not switched on. Like you
Right.
walk into a room and you don't need to flip on a light switch.
Yep. And so I wrote this down. The APOE4 gene. You heard about that, right?
Yep.
The genetic risk is increased when you eat saturated fat.
Oh, so then you increase your chances of developing Alzheimer's.
So at the end of the day, cut out the saturated fat, reduce the amount of animal meals or foods that you eat. Right?
Plain and simple.
Yep. And then another big one is the sedentary lifestyle. Behind the computer all the time.
Yes.
Not moving.
Yes, sitting in the office under artificial lights. Come home, you drive you drive to work, you get to work, sit at a chair all day. You leave work, you drive home, and you sit on your sofa all day. All evening, I should say.
There's something called BDNF, brain neurotrophic. You got me. I don't know. But I just remember the acronym. That is turned on with a lack of physical activity.
Oh.
And so it's not turned on, and then that means your brain essentially shrinks and is not used as much.
Yes, you're not using it, so you're losing it.
Let me see if I even have my notes here. I do have it in my notes. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's what it's called. And so it's reduced when you don't have a lot of
physical activity. So it's so important to get moving. Go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. If you don't like, you should be outside because you're getting that sunlight one time, that fresh air.
100%. Another big thing too is exposure to heavy metals.
Oof, that's a big one, and people don't even realize how they're being exposed to it.
They don't, right? There's things you put in your arm and your body from medicines and injections. But here's a big one. A fish, like mercury poisoning, seafood, a lot of seafood. But you know what else? Where does saturated fat come from?
Animal protein?
Meat.
Get out of here. I didn't think of that one.
Well, because they want to eat protein because when you have anemia, what they want to get into your blood. Iron helps the anemic. The thing with iron, though, is that with meat, it's unregulated. It just filters in. 40% of it is going in there. Since iron in your body, this is a poison because it's fuel for the bad stuff in your body as well. But the heavy metal of iron can go to your brain as well.
Oh, think of that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
So at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, here's a strategy. Eat plant-based.
Yes.
90% plant-based.
Yes.
Don't got to cut out your meat, but just like,
cut it back down. Cut it back dramatically. You don't need meat 7 days a week, 3 times a day.
Yep.
You don't.
Exercise.
Right. Everybody.
Daily.
Yes.
I mean, what are some things
Work
you
on
do?
the cardiovascular, sleep, get sunlight,
Yep.
read, do complex puzzles, learn a new language. For me, it's reading and knitting. I love knitting because you're reading patterns and learning new techniques.
Yep.
To me, that's fun. I did try to learn a new language, but it's kind of hard to do that, but I'm not giving up on that.
Something just to keep the brain going.
Right. Always learn something new and being social.
I'm boring. Friday nights, Saturday nights, I'm always got some kind of book I'm taking notes, a new class. And like, wow, this is so fascinating. I talk your ear off like, oh, that's great. I'm really just trying to knit here. And, no, this is a really good technique. This is a really good philosophy. They're really good.
Well, I will tell you, I listen better when I'm knitting. My ears perk up even more.
Perhaps that's why I'd be talking so much to you when you knit.
But having social connections, right? Having meaningful relationships with family, friends, in the community, having that instead of being closed off. Believe me, I love to be home, comfortable, knitting on my sofa, and I'm happy, right? But I know I can't do that all the time. I know I have to get out there and have social connections with friends and family or whoever, right? Because that keeps you engaged, gets you out of that house, because then you become encapsulated, and then what?
No.
You lose your mind.
Exactly. That's what we don't want to happen. And that's exactly why you're watching this. So those are the things that you really need to consider in order to reduce the risk of getting dementia or even stabilizing some loved ones, is to make that happen. Now, granted, it's kind of difficult. I know my father was just here. We're trying to work with him a little bit, and hey, here's some smoothie or what have you. And he's running from us. And you don't want to change. Okay, don't got to change. It's fine. You're a grown man. It's all done out of love. So
Yeah, it's kind of hard to communicate with someone who has dementia. It's really hard. But the best you can do is try your best to love them and feed them good, healthy food. Because I hold the keys to the kitchen, so he had to eat what I put on the table, right?
true.
And get them outside, get them moving, get them talking to people, and learning something new, something
Yeah.
somewhere.
And that's all the keys right there. If you do that, the chance goes down. So made this far, definitely appreciate you. Head over to Instagram, drop me a note what you thought about this. Leave a comment below at Dr. Taj Haynes HQ. That'd be a wonderful thing. I would really appreciate it. She would appreciate it as well, because I'll be talking her ear off when it comes to knitting time tonight.
I'm going to knit. Anything else?
Now that should do it.
Until next time, be well.
All right, take care.